Can you see how the pulp gets everywhere? All of that is weight that you are going to lose if you don't scrape and put back in the blender. So the solution I made of the fiber is a little bit over 1 gram of pulp blended with 150 to 175 mils of water. So the remaining is going to be formation aid and water, and that's will bring the volume up to 200 mils. And what that would mean is that 1 milliliter of this should deliver 0.005 grams of pulp in it. So if I have an area that I measured, like the middle spot we talked about earlier, and you can see it here in this video, that requires 0.04 grams of pulp, which is almost, you can see it already, it's going to be about 8 mils, right? It's going to be, so 0.04 divided by 0.005 is 8 mils is required to go in that spot of the solution. So when I made the solution, I measured 1 gram plus like almost 1.1 grams, right? Another 10%. Reason why is because the areas around the losses will need to get a little bit of pulp also for support. Plus you end up losing some of the pulp in the blender when you blend things. Even though you can clean it up as much as you want to, some of the pulp will be stuck there. So always err on the plus side. Other spots I did the math on will be, for example, let's look at one, like the top spine area, seen here, requires 0.011 gram. So divide that by 0.005, what do you get? 2.2 mils. So it isn't difficult to do, right? As long as you have the solution and you know the grammage, you should be able to figure out the amount to go into each infill. And those infills will have in them standardized amount that is the same thickness as the cover. And they are the same thickness as each other also. So there is homogeneity to the work now. You're not adding thickness to any area. You're just like filling in the precise amounts into these infills. So I added sizing already to this, and I may have added too much, but we have a volume now of about 175, and I have the formation aid ready, and you can see it's making those muselages that I need to see. So we're going to add approximately 5 milliliters to this. 5 mils to the 200 is plenty. And I'm going to stir it and let it sit for about 10 minutes. Assess it. If I need more formation aid, I will add more formation aid. The fibers should start to emulsify, and you should get a nice consistent solution that is easy to pipette and place on the cover. So this can be used within 8 hours, and I made it now, so I'm just going to let it sit aside, and meanwhile I'm going to prepare my cover, the Detective Comics 162. I'll be right back. So it looks like the amount I added is pretty good. I don't need any more formation aid. I'm just going to bring the volume now up to 200 milliliters so that the amounts I add are going to be consistent and correct. That's 200 mils right there. pH is about 8, so perfect. Let's proceed with that. So I adjusted it slightly with saturated calcium hydroxide. About 5 mils of calcium hydroxide went in here alongside, so it's 200 mils in total in volume in here right now. And it looks pretty good, emulsified at this point. So I just started by putting in a Rimet, wetted it with a diluted calcium hydroxide solution, and now I'm going to go ahead and begin with spraying the cover, letting it sit for about 10 minutes, and then flattening it and beginning with the leaf casting. So stay tuned. All right, so we're gonna add 8 mils to this middle by number 13. So should I use, this is 1 mil. Should I use sponges? I should use sponges. This area requires 34.8 mils, almost 35 mils. So I'm going to use Dr. Paul's syringe and go to 34.8. So let's see if the syringe works well. 34. That's 35. I'm going to do a little less. That's about 34, a little bit under, but that's okay. I'm gonna put that in. This works really beautifully, by the way, Dr. Paul. Thank you very much for providing it. So we're gonna do our best to fill in this area and keep the liquid in this area. So the way to do it is to use sponges around it. When you don't have a leaf casting machine, what are your options? Right? Okay, I'm gonna overlap a little bit with the remainder of the wrap. Make sure this gets the pulp amount. Let me just check this area here. Yeah, this needs more. This way, and we're done. Okay, so next thing we do is distribute the fibers. So a lot of it is over the graphic, so I'm going to push it in more. And as long as you can organize it in such a way that it is more or less homogeneous, you're good. Right? Okay, that's good. That's good. Okay. Now I use a dry sponge to put it over and just gently suck up any liquid here, like that. Looks good. So I had this in the press overnight, and we can take a look now, but I don't want to disturb the pulp too much yet because it's a little bit damp. But you can see that just through the Rimet that we have pretty good success in, oops, come on Bubba, sorry, my cat Angelo is fond of mouse videos, so I show him mouse videos on my computer and he jumps on the desk occasionally. All right, apologies. Okay, a humorous moment. What I'm going to do, guys, actually is leave this for after work, and I look at it after work because it's a little bit damp. I don't want to disturb it too much. And then we'll look at it together in another few more hours. So I'll put it in back in the press. All right. So there are some ribs first, right? These ribs I need to support with Tengu tissue. This. There's some here. There's some here along. There's one big one here. This is better to use Tengu tissue than use leaf casting, because you end up with leaf casting, you end up with pulp showing on the black. So I'll use Tengu tissue on this. As far as thickness goes, let's take a look. So this part here, 0.12. 0.12, can you see it? Let me unblink it. Point 10, 0.13, 0.13. Let's look at the cover itself, see what it is in the adjacent part. 0.09, what over here? 0.10. So it's very much the same. It's equivalent. The amount added here ended up being the same thickness as the cover. This I'm gonna have a hard time measuring because it doesn't reach, but it looks the same. And this looks the same. They all look pretty close, right? Let me do this and this here. I can measure these. It's very difficult to tell sometimes what you're buying on eBay, and I think this one lost its sizing very quickly. This is 0.13, guys, on the top. Very nice. And this is 0.13 again, right? So they are reading the same as the cover, and I am very happy with the way this turned out. I just need to use some Tengu tissue, I think, to support the spine and the ribs and all that. Before I do that, I'm gonna actually go ahead and size this with gelatin, because I think it's losing its sizing. It just looks it, right? And then after I size it, I'm gonna go ahead and seal these and trim and see how it looks afterwards. All right, guys, thank you for watching.